So we're standing at the Giant Panda exhibit as part of the Giant Panda experience here at the Toronto Zoo. Today is the last day for the public to see the giant pandas, as we will be closing the exhibit tonight, and then the next few days we will be preparing the pandas for the next leg of their journey to the Calgary Zoo, and they will be staying at the Calgary Zoo for the next 5 years as part of a 10-year loan agreement between Canada and China as part of a global giant panda conservation breeding program. So in order for the giant pandas to come to Canada, there is some giant panda diplomacy involved. So it was in 2012, I believe, that Stephen Harper, the Prime Minister of Canada at the time, was in China and did sign an agreement for the giant pandas to come to Canada for a 10-year global giant panda conservation breeding program. And the Prime Minister was actually at the airport when the pandas arrived in 2013 and actually had to sign for them. They arrived on a FedEx aircraft that came direct from China, and there was some Chinese keepers on that flight, as well as Toronto Zoo staff. And from there, the pandas were then transported to the Toronto Zoo. So in March 2013, two giant pandas arrived from China to Canada, Urshan and Damao, as part of a global giant panda conservation breeding program. They arrived at the Toronto Zoo on March 25th, 2013, and the panda exhibit opened to the public the long weekend in May. They've been here for 5 years now, and as part of the conservation breeding program, we had great success with the breeding portion of the program in October 2015, when two giant panda cubs were born. These were the first giant panda cubs ever born in Canada.
It's been a lot of fun working with the giant panda cubs since the day they were born and watching their progress. So from being born, they were 150 grams, 180 grams when they were first born, to now they're about 50 kilos. It's notoriously difficult to look after giant pandas in captivity because they are such a specialist animal, meaning that they eat one type of food. So from our climate, we don't have bamboo that we can feed them on a regular basis. We have little pockets of bamboo growing in the Ontario area, but that doesn't really help with their overall diet. So we have to import bamboo 3 times a week. So that can be quite stressful, making sure that we get the bamboo delivered. It comes from Memphis, Tennessee and Cincinnati, Ohio. So that's been a very stressful thing. It makes looking after the pandas more difficult than it sometimes has to be. And working with bamboo is very, very difficult. It's very heavy. It's very dirty. Sometimes the pandas don't like the bamboo we get, so that can be a bit of a challenge. They can be quite choosy in what they like to eat. So although it's a lot of fun working with such an iconic species, it does have its challenges, and most of those challenges revolve around the fact that they eat bamboo.
We're extremely proud of our accomplishments and success with this program, and as a result of these twin panda cubs that have grown and thrived, their names are Japan Pan, which means Canadian Hope, and Jeweiwei, which means Canadian Joy. And they will be going to the Calgary Zoo with their mom Urshan at the end of this week, where they will spend the next 5 years. And we are extremely proud of our accomplishments with the Global Giant Panda Conservation Program. And it's important to note that while the giant pandas were here, they have been downgraded from an endangered species to vulnerable, which means that the zoological institutions around the world are playing a key role in ensuring the ongoing survival of this incredible species. And it's important to note that there's not that many institutions around the world that actually have giant pandas. In North America, there are only 5 zoological institutions that have giant pandas. We're the only ones in Canada that have had them. And then they'll be going to the Calgary Zoo for the next 5 years. So 2 pandas arrived in 2013, 4 pandas are going to the Calgary Zoo in 2018, which means we've been able to double the giant panda population here in Canada.
Everybody loves pandas, and everybody, since they were first discovered, has really really loved them. But one of the really important things that zoos do is not just have them on display, but make sure that we try to breed them in captivity. So for a very, very long time, giant pandas were considered to be endangered, and it was very important that they were bred in captivity so that in case anything happened to the population in the wild, there would be some pandas left. For a long time, there was only about 1,600 pandas left in the wild. Now there's over 1,800, and they have been downgraded from endangered to threatened, which is fantastic. So that means that now they can put more thought into breeding them, really pair genetically perfect pairings to make sure that we're getting really good quality instead of quantity. So for a long time, the breeding program was more about breeding as many pandas as we could to have the numbers in case something happened to the wild population.
So most of the agreements between Canada and a country to loan giant pandas are 10-year agreements with one institution. This is the first time that China has agreed to split the 10-year agreement between two zoological institutions. And that certainly worked to benefit both zoos, to spend 5 years in Toronto and then the next 5 years at the Calgary Zoo. It is an expensive program, but one that we were very proud to be part of. And this way it gives more Canadians the opportunity to see these incredible species up close by spending 5 years in Toronto and then the last 5 years out west in Calgary. So we do hope that many Canadians can enjoy them. More than 6.2 million Canadians have come here to see the giant pandas at the Toronto Zoo, and we wish them nothing but the best on the next leg of their journey in Calgary. Yeah, one of the greatest accomplishments with the Giant Panda Conservation Breeding Program, of course, is the success of births. It's important to note that in the wild, if giant pandas give birth to twins, it's unlikely that both will survive because the mom is only able to care for one. So the fact that we have twins here was an incredible success story, and the fact that they've both thrived and are healthy youngsters is testament to the incredible professional staff here at the Toronto Zoo. And what the Giant Panda program has also done for us is really elevated us on a global stage. And now institutions around the world, the public around the world, is much more aware of the conservation programs here at the Toronto Zoo. And the giant pandas have been very helpful in bringing worldwide attention to the Toronto Zoo because of having them here. They are a bit of a global phenomena. They have fans from around the world. And when we launched our TELUS Giant Panda Cam, we know that panda lovers around the world were logging on and checking them out daily. So it certainly is, the giant pandas have a huge following around the world, and because of them we've been able to talk about other conservation breeding success stories here, like our clouded leopards, our snow leopards, cheetahs, Blanding's turtles, which are an endangered species here in Ontario, and many more programs. So it's been a wonderful 5 years with them. It's with mixed emotions that we say goodbye. We're happy that they're going to be spending the next 5 years in the Calgary Zoo, but we certainly will miss them.